of Foreign Affairs. Thank you very much, Mr. Balkhi, for joining us here on the programme. This is a devastating situation, and as I was saying, the death toll could actually be much higher because it's such a remote part of the country.
Thank you very much for having me. Yes, absolutely. It was a devastating earthquake that struck a couple of days ago, 4 or 5 days ago, in Paktika and Khost provinces of eastern Afghanistan. We've lost 1,000 lives, more than 1,000. 3,000 injured and 10,000 homes destroyed. Entire lives and livelihoods gone in a matter of seconds. The response from our government has been praised by all corners. We've done whatever is within our capacity, whether it's through cash, assistance or tents and food, water, whether it's facilitating the assistance from foreign governments that want to help. That's by opening the Khost airport for cargo planes to land, mobilizing the entire apparatus from the Ministry of Defense to Interior to the Foreign Ministry to try to facilitate everything, and also mobilizing the general public to raise funds for those most in need.
There is still a major concern, though, from the international community. I mean, your government, de facto authorities here, not recognised. They have concerns about the human rights issue and situation that is unfolding, especially when it comes to women and girls in this country. What steps do you think the Taliban now needs to take? Because, I mean, in many ways, is this earthquake a wake-up call?
Well, what we need at this moment is mutual respect for those that have lost their lives and those that are living through this terrible condition, which has been imposed by the international community. First, by ending all assistance, and that is not what we need. Then draining the banks from money, and then getting those thieves and giving them refuge in the UK and other countries. And following that, imposing sanctions on our banking and our entire government, which has affected the lives of ordinary Afghans. So it is a collective punishment of our people, and the world needs to have a very thorough look into their conscience and see whether the Afghans actually have a fundamental right to life. And if they can agree on that, then maybe we can talk about human rights and women's rights and other rights that are common to all of us.
But human rights are common to Afghans, are they not? Especially for girls who aren't going to school, for example. It's been over 283 days now that the Taliban has imposed a ban on them.
That is absolutely incorrect notion. No one has put a ban on any girls going to school. Girls are going to school from primary schools.
But not high schools.
They're getting education in universities. They're getting education in language and computer courses. There's only a technical problem in the secondary schooling aspect, but even they're open in more than a dozen countries. So the notion is absolutely incorrect. It is a narrative that is being pushed by certain actors for their own personal gain. So, I mean, that is, and the government has made a promise. It has made a commitment to the rights of education of all citizens of Afghanistan, irrespective of their gender.
Do you know when, though, girls' schools will open?
That is a question that will be answered by the relevant ministries. I don't have the timeline for it.
We've spoken to journalists in the last 24 hours who say they have been to some of these remote areas of eastern Afghanistan, in Paktika and Khost. One journalist told me that a woman with broken bones wasn't able to get assistance, A, because there wasn't a female doctor or nurse, and B, because the Taliban was still waiting for her guardian or mahram to arrive. How are you dealing with that?
I think you're trying to misconstrue the report. I read the report. It was by Channel 4, Ms. Hilson. And she said that is the culture of the people, and that's what we're trying to tell the world. There are certain constraints within the culture of Afghanistan whether good or bad, that is a different aspect. We can talk about and debate about that in many other settings, but that is the culture that is prevalent in Afghanistan, and the world needs to understand that they have to respect this culture. You cannot change cultures and beliefs through sanctions and pressure tactics. They haven't worked in the last 40 years. They're not going to work in the upcoming years either.
What do you now need to get to these remote areas? I mean, the international community, we've had countries like Qatar, Pakistan, the UAE offering aid. But what is it that the Taliban needs most to assist these people?
What the government of Afghanistan needs the world to do is to lift the sanctions, give the reserves of the Afghan Central Bank so it can function and provide livelihoods and jobs to the people of Afghanistan. That is what the government has been asking for as the initial step. And following that, after causing 20 years of devastation and death and destruction on the people of Afghanistan, the world needs to help assist the people rebuild their lives and their country.
The United Nations Security Council, in their gathering last week, and I was there, said that the Taliban are diverting aid to their own fighters, to people who support them and not the general population. What do you say in response to that?
We say to the United Nations and the organizations and the other relevant bodies that are present here that we have not diverted aid to anyone. All we have done is asked for the equal distribution of this aid to every single Afghan citizen. And what the other aspect that we've asked for is transparency. People are taking money, taking donations in the name of Afghans, and then not providing transparency in its distribution or its flow to the citizens.
Do you think the Taliban's doing that as well? In terms of the lack of transparency when it is coming down to aid?
No, absolutely not. The government has made it absolutely clear and it has provided transparency in every single aspect and in every area of work that they're doing.